You unlock this door. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You've just crossed over into
common sense zone.
Well, your state's taking the brunt of it, especially in Phoenix. Well, that brings me to another point. My stance, especially with all the stimulus money being thrown around like confetti, they are printing it like confetti, is that the government should take this opportunity to fund immigration and customs to put a workable immigration plan in, including possibly a guest worker plan in place so that Mexican citizens can actually have a true path to citizenship, and also a functioning guest worker program. Do you have any planned legislation or something along those lines that you'd want to bring out right now?
You know, I'm for fear of the details being, basically lifted and stolen for political use. Certainly, it's been out there for years. It's been out there for years that we advocate a strong national security, and I even have libertarians understanding now that you do need to put U.S. military assets on our borders, and that free trade and common trade doesn't mean that you just allow what's becoming an anarchy situation with the crime, and so we need troops on our borders, our military and National Guard. We need to beef up our Coast Guard defenses, and we need to put Americans first, and then we secure the ports of entry into this country. That's the first step in gaining control of an immigration system that's then based on a new paradigm. It's not family reunification. In these days and these times, it's strictly based on economics. Economics 101. Until the day that every American is back to work, we have no business bringing anyone into this country to do a job. And we better start looking at our neighbors who are out there complaining and saying, instead of taking our tax dollars on unemployment, as I know in the Central Valley of California, there are thousands of jobs open and ready and waiting that pay $15 to $18 an hour picking strawberries. And if the unemployed don't go out there and start taking those jobs, then everything else is sort of a moot point, and you're going to have business then drive this issue, which means that they will get their way and they'll bring in cheap labor.
Yeah, and the thing that irritates me the most is that if you say anything about immigration, they want to claim that you're racist for wanting any kind of plan, like a guest worker plan or some other thing, when in truth, and I even wrote an article in our newspaper about this, the Mexican workers are being treated very unfairly by our government. That doesn't actually seem to care. Big business gets cheap labor, the workers are sometimes underpaid, placed in horrid working and living conditions, they aren't afforded the same medical care as a citizen. And one thing, in my view, you must overcome in this campaign is the negative stigma that's going to be attached to you or anybody else that wants to go through some kind of comprehensive plan that brings them in properly. And I assume you would do the same way.
Rob, it's a win-win when you just look at the basic duties of a U.S. Senator to represent, of course, the people of Arizona, but also the United States, and that is to uphold the oath of office, back up the platform you stood on, which on this one would be a strong national defense. And when are we going to start here on the home front? Look at the jobs that we create. And this is about jobs, and this is about security. We could bolster just a plan to bolster national security and our border and coastal security, which, by the way, is part of what the Constitution mandates the federal government to do. So it's okay to spend money on that, not these other programs. But let's talk about spending money, like you said, on securing borders. 2 million jobs could be created in 2 years. And I mean good jobs that could sustain themselves and jobs that would last for decades, meaning generations, which add a new pride to our saying to the rest of the world, we take our sovereignty and our security seriously enough to put people to work to do it. It's part of our national economy now, and it's a job well done by the federal government in doing its basic, and again, following the basic tenets of our founding fathers, what they have intended. So,
and that's one of the sad things, is that the growing unemployment numbers in this country, and they're going to get worse. I mean, they even said that today. Even though the economy's supposedly turning around, it's going to get worse. So if we had a guest worker program or something, we could, send them back, and Americans could hold those jobs. And I can't understand why Americans can't see the negative effects of this dysfunctional immigration plan that, well, we don't really even have a plan, it doesn't even seem.
Well, at a time when we have millions unemployed, which means obviously probably also a percentage of those probably equaling a million or two of illegal aliens in this country who are just sitting by idly waiting, it's a perfect opportunity to slam the door shut and say, we don't need any more right now. There's a surplus. That's how a free market works. And so we slam the door shut, and this gives us time. This is the moratorium that we needed right now to say, let's stop all immigration at this point and fix it. And you could put this on a fast track to fix this using biometric ID cards, bringing people out of the shadows, getting the criminals out of our prison systems, but also welcoming the new immigrants that are out there waiting. However, they're going to have to wait their turn because America comes first. Our jobs come first. Our people come first. And those who are here who feel it's too uncomfortable probably need to go home and wait their turn. But America comes first. Let's talk jobs. Let's talk health care. Let's talk energy. And one of the reasons, we need to rebuild the infrastructure of the systems we have now and some of the new alternative energy possibilities that we have that are not so green. This green technology, some of it's a bunch of hooey, to tell you the truth, but there's some good technology out there that's not being applied, and look at the jobs those would create. And as you dangle the carrot, there are X number of U.S. citizens available. Right now we know about 5 million. Let's get this country back up and working, because right now, and you and I know, that it's going to take everyone here working at full capacity, earning the highest earnings of all time to ever catch up on what the Obama cabal has just gotten us into when it comes to our national debt. It will take and on top of that, Rob, frankly, it would take another 100 million immigrants working at the same level to boost our GDP to the level that it would take to catch up with the debt that we're going to be in. So, let's look at it there. Let's put America back to work first.
And here's a question though. Let's say when you get in, because you will, got to think positive. You can't just bust out the illegal immigrants. So do you have any kind of thoughts on what would possibly occur if unemployment's still at a major 10-12% at that point? Would you have any sort of plan or ideas to address the immigrants that are here now? I mean, I know some of them are fleeing back on their own right now, yes. But did you have any thoughts on that at all?
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.